be finishing Genesis 41 this morning, and then we will be doing all of Genesis 42. I think we had about 20 questions that we couldn't get done last week. So today we're going to finish up Genesis 41, then do our best to do Genesis 42. What we're going to see is Jacob sent 10 of his sons to Egypt for food. Now, Jacob sent his sons to Egypt to find a food salvation. Remember, there was going to be a massive worldwide famine. And so Jacob sent his sons to Egypt to find food salvation. Joseph, being a type of Christ, sent his brothers back to Canaan to bring the rest of the family back to him. That's what we're going to see today. And our main point today as we go through this study is Jesus sends us back to the world to bring his family that he died for back to him. So, Chris.
Mike.
Okay.
Doug. No good, man.
Doug.
We need a
Engelbert.
alliteration, like
Yeah, Mike. Trust me, I got it.
Remember.
Yeah. I was thinking about you this morning. Like, is it Chris? Is it Mike? Is it Chris? Is it Mike? 50-50. There you
I
are.
messed it up.
That's right. Mike, can you read Genesis 41, verses 46 to 49, please? That's where we left off last week.
He was 30 years old when he began serving in the court of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. And when Joseph left Pharaoh's presence, he inspected the entire land of Egypt. As predicted, for 7 years the land produced bumper crops. During those years, Joseph gathered all the crops grown in Egypt and stored the grain from the surrounding fields in the cities. He piled up huge amounts of grain like sand on the seashore. Finally, he stopped keeping records because there was too much to measure.
Thank you. How old was Joseph when he entered Pharaoh's service?
30.
How long?
30.
30. Okay. So how old would that make Joseph?
30. You said Joseph.
Yeah. How old would that make Joseph? 37. Oh, yeah, 30. Yeah. Sorry, I'm out of here. I'm out of it. How many years was he away from his family? 13 years. He was 17. So 13 years. So how old was he when he was sold into slavery? 17.
17.
Oh, you know what? You only... Did you read down to 52? No.
No, I read to 49.
Guys, I'm reading the wrong questions. How old was Joseph when he entered Pharaoh's service? 30. What did Joseph do for the next 7 years? He was stacking up grain. How much grain was there? Mike?
Too much. Yeah.
Too much. You couldn't even count
Yeah,
it.
there's, yeah.
And why did he stop measuring it?
Beyond measure.
Beyond measure. Okay. Now, Paul. Genesis 41, 50 to 52, please.
During this time, before the first of the famine years, 2 sons were born to Joseph and his wife, Athenia, the daughter of Potipharah, the priest of On. Joseph named his older son Manasseh, for he said, God has made me forget all my troubles and everyone in my father's family.
Yeah.
Joseph named his second son Ephraim, for he said, God has made me fruitful in this land of my grief.
Thank you. So what year were Joseph's sons born to him?
Before the years of famine.
How many years?
Just says before the years of famine.
Okay.
So that's the 6th year of plenty, you think is?
Yeah. Before the year of famine, so that was 6. So that would make him 36 years old. Okay. How many years was he away from his family?
20 years.
19 years. How old was he when he was sold into slavery? 17.
17.
So he's away from his family. What, 17 plus 13 is 30 plus 6, so 19 years, yeah. What did he name his first son?
Manasseh.
Manasseh. And what does Manasseh mean?
Isn't that the same as Messiah? Or is it? No.
No. It says it right here.
God has made me forget all my trouble.
God has made me forget all my hardship and
Trouble.
My family.
Father's house.
on my father's house.
How do you fit that all into
Manasseh.
Manasseh.
like 8 letters? How does that equate?
I don't know. It's something to do with the Hebrew vowels and the syllables. Do you think he wanted to forget his father and the rest of his family?
Not his father and his youngest brother.
I didn't want to forget. Just the trouble part he wanted to forget. But you're gone almost 30 years. And you tend to forget. What did he name his second son? Ephraim. And what does Ephraim mean?
God has made me fruitful
in the land of my affliction.
God has made me fruitful in the land of my affliction. Why do you think he felt affliction when he was the second most powerful man in the nation? Let me write this down. I wrote this down. Let me go over it with you. Number 1, he married into an antichrist worshiping family. His father-in-law is a priest of On. Remember that? Number 2, Egypt was not the land of promise. Canaan was. Number 3, he desired to worship God, but people were forced to bow the knee to him. Number 4, he's making pagan money in a pagan society, and he wants to be in the promise of God, not the playground of Satan. Esther, can you read 41, 53 to 55, please?
The 7 years of abundance in Egypt came to an end, and the 7 years of famine began, as Joseph had said. There was famine in all the other lands, but in the whole land of Egypt there was food. When all Egypt began to feel the famine, the people cried to Pharaoh for food. Then Pharaoh told all the Egyptians, "Go to Joseph and do what he tells you."
Thank you. So what ended?
7 years of plenty.
The 7 years of plenty ended. What began?
Famine.
The famine. Where was the famine?
All over.
The whole world.
Whole world.
So who had food?
Egypt.
Egypt. And what did Pharaoh tell the Egyptians to do when they got hungry?
Go talk to
Go
Joseph.
see
Go
Joseph.
talk with Joseph. Carol, can you read 56 and 57, please?
When the famine was spread over all the face of the earth, then Joseph opens up all the storehouses and sold to the Egyptians, and the famine was severe in the land of Egypt. The people of all the earth came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph, because the famine was severe in all the earth.
Thank you. So who came to Egypt to see Joseph for food?
All the people.
All the people. Okay, Pat. 42, 1 to 3, please.
When Jacob heard that grain was available in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why are you standing around looking at one another? I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy enough grain to keep us alive. Otherwise, we'll die.
Thank you. So what did Jacob learn?
There is food available in Egypt.
And what did he ask his sons?
Or are you just standing here? Go get some.
Mike says, why do you just look at one another? How would we say this today? Well, there's a construction version, which I'm not going to say, and the other one is stop twiddling your thumbs.
Get off your butt.
Get off your butt. You know, start doing some stuff. Where did Jacob tell them to go?
Egypt.
Egypt. And how many sons went down? Why did he tell them to go there?
Because that's where the food was.
That's where the food was. And how many sons went down to Egypt?
10.
10. Okay. Molly, 42:4, please.
But Jacob wouldn't let Joseph's younger brother Benjamin go with him for fear some harm might befall him.
Which son did he not send down?
Benjamin, the youngest,
Why did he not want to send Benjamin?
didn't want any harm to come to him.
He was a brother to Joseph. From the same mother.
So how old would Benjamin have been at this time? About 19, 20-ish. He's not a boy anymore.
But Dad needed someone to stay home and take care of him.
He still had Leah, I think. Leah hadn't died yet.
He didn't want to lose Benjamin because he'd already lost Joseph. And
He'd
Rachel
already
was his
lost
favorite.
Joseph.
Yes. That was it.
Yeah. How old was Joseph when Jacob thought that he was killed?
17.
17. Who was Joseph and Benjamin's mother?
Yeah.
Rachel.
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 And which wife did Jacob love most?
Rachel.
Now remember, Rachel has been dead for at least 19, 20 years now. And if he loses Benjamin, he's scared he's going to lose the memory of the wife he loved the most. 42:5, please, Al.
So the sons of Israel came to buy grain among those who were coming. For the famine was in the land of Canaan also.
Thank you. So, who were the sons of Israel among as they came to Egypt?
All the other people coming.
All the other people. Okay, pay attention to that. I wrote this down because a lot of us know the story. We know how the story ends. I said, others came to Joseph, but only those who belonged to his family went through the Exodus. Think about that. Everyone in the world came to Joseph, but only those who belonged to his family went through the Red Sea. Not the whole world. Think about that one for a second. Whose turn is it, Rob? 42:6 and 7, please.
Now Joseph was governor over the land. He was the one who sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed themselves before him with their faces to the ground. Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them, but he treated them like strangers and spoke roughly to them. Where do you come from? He said. They said, from the land of Canaan to buy food.
Thank you. So what was Joseph's position?
Governor?
Governor? Who was the only person who sold grain? Pardon me?
The governor.
The governor, Joseph. Who came?
Brothers.
Brothers?
And everybody.
Mm-hmm. What did they do?
They bowed down.
Bow down. Oh, that's getting interesting. Did Joseph know who they were?
Yes.
Yeah. Did they know who Joseph was?
No.
How did he treat them?
Harshly.
Harshly. How did he talk to them? Roughly. Here's a question. When you first heard the gospel, did you hear the good news first or the bad news first? You see, I can tell you, without sharing the bad news, God loves you and has a wonderful plan for your life. Well, thank you, Jesus. Hope that my plan and your plan involves me becoming a multi-billionaire and maybe an Elon Musk, and I'm all up for your plan. That's great news. What if I came up to you and said, hey, I've got some great news for you. What we're going to do is we're going to put you through 4 weeks of intensive chemotherapy, then 8 weeks of radiation, and after that we'll do a couple of MRIs, and then we might have to go through another round of chemo. That's great news, isn't it? It's not good news. That sounds horrible. Why would I want to do that unless I know the bad news? And the bad news is you've got stage 4 brain cancer. We can save your life, but this is the treatment we need to do. Does that sound like better news now? You need to hear the bad news. And the bad news sounds harsh, doesn't it? The bad news is you have sinned against the most holy God. This is nothing to laugh about. God's wrath is on your life. The most powerful being in all eternity is ready to kill you, just not once, but twice. You are going to spend the rest of your life not only in hell, but the lake of fire, and you're never going to die. And you will never get out of there. That's bad news, and that sounds harsh, and people get upset. But the good news is, because Jesus loves you, and because he's so just, he can't just forgive you, because that would make him unjust. The judge himself stepped out of heaven and took the Father's wrath for you on himself. So by faith in what he's done, not only are your sins paid for, because they're paid for, they're forgiven. And because they're forgiven, you are in right standing with God. And eternal life is, John 17:3, and this is eternal life, that you know God the Father and Jesus Christ whom he sent. Eternal life is having a deep, intimate, personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And you cannot have that if he hasn't paid your sin debt. So did the bad news sound harsh? You bet it sounded harsh. Tracy, is it your turn? 42:8, please.
But Joseph had recognized his brothers, although they did not recognize him.
How many times has the scripture said that Joseph has recognized them so far? Twice. Really quickly. Twice within a couple of verses. Did his brothers recognize him? Why do you think his brothers didn't recognize him?
He was 17 when they sold him into slavery, and now he is a grown man with authority.
Okay?
Plus he's bald and no beard. And wearing mascara.
Yeah.
He looks
He's
like an
walking
eyeliner.
around like this. Yeah. I wrote down, they thought he was a slave at best and dead at worst. Joseph looked like an Egyptian, not a Hebrew. Susan, 42:9, please.
Then he remembered his dreams about them and said to them, "You are spies. You have come to see where our land is unprotected."
What did Joseph remember?
His dreams.
His dreams. What triggered these dreams to be remembered?
They bowed down.
They bowed down. Had Joseph interpreted dreams well in Egypt so far?
Yes.
Yes, he has. Okay, Scotty, can you read Genesis 41:32, please?
Now, as for the repeating of the dream to Pharaoh twice, it means that the matter is determined by God, and God will quickly bring it about.
Thank you. What does the doubling of dreams mean? Two different things here.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen and?
Quickly.
And God's going to do it quickly. How many dreams did Joseph have about his family before he was sold into slavery? Two. One was the sheaves that were bowing down. The other was the moon, sun, moon, and stars that were bowing down. Hey, staff, we're going to go back to Genesis 42:9-11, please.
Joseph remembered the dreams which he had had about them, and said to them, "You are spies. You have come to look at the undefended parts of our land." Then they said to him, "No, my lord, but your servants have come to buy food. We are all sons of one man. We are honest men. Your servants are not spies."
Thank you. What did Joseph accuse his brothers of doing?
Spying.
Spying. What did... Okay, got that. What did his brothers say they were there to do?
Buy grain.
Buy food.
Buy grain. Who did they say they were sons of?
One father.
Pardon me? One father, yeah. What did they say they were?
Honest.
Honest. I wrote this down. Many of you will remember this. Margaret Thatcher once said, if you need to tell someone you're a lady, you certainly are not one. This can be said about honesty also. If you need to tell someone you're an honest person,
You're not.
you're not. Were they honest men?
No.
No.
What did they say they never were?
Spies.
Genesis 42:12, please, Marcy.
He said to them, "No, it is the nakedness of the land that you have come to see."
Okay. What did Joseph accuse them of?
Falsifying their...
You have come to see the
vulnerability of the land.
Nakedness,
Undefended.
undefended. What does he mean by the nakedness of the land that they have come to see? You see, the Bible interprets the Bible. Where do we see in Genesis so far someone seeing someone else's nakedness? Noah. And what did we find out uncovering his father's nakedness or seeing his father's nakedness mean? You guys remember? Ham violated his mother. I wrote down, he violated his mother. Therefore, Joseph was accusing them of bringing great harm to Egypt. You're spying out to bring great harm and shame to Egypt. Marcy, did you read already? Okay. Mike.
Yes, sir.
42:13, please.
Sir, they said, there are actually 12 of us. We, your servants, are all brothers, sons of a man living in the land of Canaan. Our youngest brother is back there with our father right now, and one of our brothers is no longer with us.
Thank you. So what did the brothers say about the family?
There's more.
There's more.
Yeah.
Which one supposedly died?
Joseph.
Joseph? Now, did they kill Joseph?
No.
So why did they say he died?
Because they didn't know what happened to him.
They're honest men. They're just.
They're honest men, right? What did they tell their father?
He died.
They died.
You got to keep the lie going.
Let me quote Adolf Hitler here in Bible study. And Adolf Hitler has said, if you tell a lie long enough, people will believe it. And if you tell a lie to yourself long enough, you will believe it too. Genesis 42:13, please, Paul.
Sir, they said, there are actually 12 of us. We, your servants, are all brothers, sons of a man living in the land of Canaan. Our youngest brother is back there with our father right now, and one of our brothers is no longer with us.
Did we just read that?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. 14 to 17. Keep on reading, Paul. And while you're reading, I'm grabbing a coffee because I can't read my own handwriting.
But Joseph insisted, as I said, you are spies. This is how I will test your story. I swear by the life of Pharaoh that you will never leave Egypt unless your youngest brother comes here. One of you must go and get your brother. I'll keep the rest of you here in prison. Then we'll find out whether or not your story is true. By the life of Pharaoh, if it turns out that you don't have a younger brother, then I will know that you are spies.
Okay. Thank you. What did Joseph call them?
Spies.
Yeah, he knew they were lying. What was Joseph going to do?
Put everyone in prison until the youngest.
Test them. Yes. Who did he swear by?
Pharaoh.
Pharaoh. What was the test?
Bring the younger brother had to come, or they'd all be imprisoned.
Why did he want Benjamin?
Baby brother.
Yeah, the only brother he had from one mother.
That didn't sell him into slavery.
That's right. What did he tell them to do?
Go get him. Leave someone behind.
And how long did he put them in jail?
3 days.
Oh,
3 days.
3 days? Oh, we're running to 3 days again. Interesting. Esther, 18 to 20, please.
On the third day, Joseph said to them, do this and you will live. For I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers stay here in prison while the rest of you go and take grain back for your starving households. But you must bring your youngest brother to me so that your words may be verified and that you may not die. This they proceeded to do.
What day did Joseph talk to them?
Third day.
On the third day. How many did he set free?
All but one.
All but one. Who was freed from the grave on the third day?
Christ.
Christ. What would happen if they did not bring Benjamin back?
They don't die.
If you don't bring him back, you guys are going to die. If you do, you won't. 21 to 22. Is it Pat's turn? Or Carol's turn?
Carol.
Carol, 21 to 22.
I have a
please.
question first.
Yeah.
Why do you think he changed his punishment after the 3 days?
Because we're going to talk about it in a couple verses.
Oh, sorry.
On to that quick.
Then they said to one another, truly we are guilty concerning our brother, because we saw the distress of his soul when he pleaded with us. Yet we would not listen, therefore this distress has come upon us. Reuben answered them, saying, did I not tell you, do not sin against the boy, and you would not listen? Now comes the reckoning for his blood.
Thank you. What were the brothers confessing?
They weren't honest.
Yeah, okay, so what were they confessing? I heard a bunch of things.
Of what they did to Joseph.
What they... Okay, so now they're confessing in front of Joseph, not knowing Joseph can understand them.
Yeah.
Interesting. What did Reuben say?
I told you so.
I told you so. We're getting what we deserve. I told you don't harm the boy. Pat, 23 to 24, please.
Of course, they didn't know that Joseph understood them, for he had been speaking to them through an interpreter. Now he turned away from them and began to weep. When he regained his composure, he spoke to them again. Then he chose Simeon from among them and had him tied up right before their eyes.
Thank you. Why didn't they know Joseph understood them?
Egyptian with them the whole time?
Yeah?
And as an interpreter.
An interpreter. What did they just do? They confessed their sin to Joseph, not knowing it. 1 John 1:9. Anyone know that off by heart? Say it again, Molly.
If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just forgive us.
From all unrighteousness. See how this is going? Back to Genesis 4:24, please, Al. No, Molly, it's your turn, right?
Oh, okay. Now he,
Genesis 42:24.
okay. Now he turned away from them and began to weep. When he regained his composure, he spoke to them again. Then he chose Simeon from among them and had him tied up right before their eyes.
Thank you. What did Joseph do after they confessed?
He cried.
He wept. His heart is broken and starting to heal. My brothers are confessing. They're acknowledging their sin. Who did he bind up?
Simeon.
I want you guys to pay attention to this. It's so important why he chose Simeon. Why do you think he bound Simeon up? Is he the oldest? No, Reuben's the oldest.
Yeah, right.
But it has something to do with this. Who was the second son born to Jacob? Simeon. Who was the second Adam? Jesus. Who paid the penalty for our sins? The first or second Adam?
Second.
Second. That's why he chose him. Isn't that interesting? Whose turn is it? Al, is it your turn? 42:25 to 28.
Then Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain and to restore every man's money in his sack, and to give them provisions for the journey. Thus it was done for them. So they loaded the donkeys with their grain and departed from there. As one of them opened the sacks to give his donkey water at the lodge place, he saw that the money had and behold, it was in the mouth of the sack. Then he said to his brothers, my money has been returned, and behold, it is even in my sack. And then the heart sank. They turned trembling to one another, saying, what is this that God has done to us?
Thank you. What two things did Joseph command?
Fill their bags with grain and replace them with money.
Okay. Why did he have their money put back in their bags?
So the whole rest of the story can play out.
Okay. Let's look at the gospel. Are you seeing the gospel being played out here?
He wanted to make them worry big time.
That helps. That helps. We have 3 days. We have on the third day, they're released. We have the second son being bound. Why did they go to Egypt? For food? Salvation. And what does salvation cost us? Nothing. Nothing. Are you seeing the gospel being played out here? And what did the brothers find in their sacks?
Money returned.
And were they excited or terrified over this?
Frightened.
I'd say they're pretty terrified. Whose turn is it, Rob? 48, 29 to 35, please.
When they came to Jacob their father in the land of Canaan, they told him all that had happened to them, saying, the man, the Lord of the land, spoke roughly to us and took us to be spies of the land. But we said to him, we are honest men, we have never been spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of our father, one who is no more, and the youngest is this day with our father in the land of Canaan. Then the man, the Lord of the land, said to us, by this I shall know that you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers with me, and take grain for the famine of your households, and go your way. Bring your youngest brother to me, then I shall know that you are not spies, but honest men, and I will deliver your brother to you, and you shall trade in the land. They emptied their sacks. Behold, every man's bundle of money was in his sack. And when they and their father saw their bundles of money, they were afraid.
What did the brothers tell their father?
Everything.
Everything that happened. Did they know it was Joseph? No. What did they confess to doing to Joseph?
They said one is no more.
Who orchestrated Jesus' death? Not who nailed him to the cross, but who orchestrated it? Judas set it up, but who prompted Judas?
Satan.
And Satan worked through which people?
Pharisees.
And Pharisees belong to what people group? Israelites. These many Israelites? Right? Is Jesus a king? Do the Jews know today that Jesus is king? No. What do you make with grain? Flour, and use flour to make
bread.
And who is the bread of life?
Christ.
You see where this is going? It's outlining. The Jews didn't even know that who they were crucifying was their Messiah. Whose turn is it? Susan, or yours?
Mine.
Yours, Tracy, 4836, please.
Their father Jacob said to them, "You have bereaved me of my children. Joseph is no more, and Simeon is no more. And you would take Benjamin? All these things are against me."
What did Jacob accuse them of doing? Pardon me?
Stealing?
Bereaving them.
Bereaving them. Bereaving him of his children. I hope you're seeing gospel stuff here. How many sons would have been gone?
3.
Yeah.
3. Let's put this together. How many families did those 3 sons come from? 1. 3 and 1. What is this pointing us to? To the Trinity. Were all 3 sons still alive?
Yes.
Yes.
How many persons in the Trinity are involved in salvation?
3.
3. The Father, John 6:44. The Father draws us to Jesus. The Son saves us. And the Spirit seals us. Genesis 42:37, please, Susan.
Then Reuben said to his father, "You may put both of my sons to death if I do not bring him back to you. Entrust him to my care, and I will bring him back."
What did Reuben say?
If I don't come back, kill my 2 sons.
Yeah. What's Reuben trying to do?
Make up for his previous sin.
That's right. So remember, he slept with Bilhah. He molested Bilhah. And Bilhah was Rachel's maid. And he did it right after Rachel died. And twice so far, like he's lost his firstborn status. And twice so far in this story, from the time that he molested Bilhah, he's been trying to find a way to get his firstborn status back. And what's he trying to do now? Again, he's not worried about his other brothers. He's worried about his status. What am I going to get out of this? I will kill my own 2 sons just to get my 2 portions of the inheritance. Scotty, can you read 42:38, please?
But Jacob said, "My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he alone is left. If harm should befall him on the journey you are taking, then you will bring my hair down to Sheol in sorrow."
Was Jacob going to allow Benjamin to go to Egypt?
No.
No. He wasn't. Why wasn't he going to allow Benjamin to go?
Like you said before, it was the last memory of his favorite wife, Rachel.
Who's waiting in prison for his brothers?
Simeon.
Simeon, yeah.
This is one messed up family. Have you noticed this? Let's go to our conclusion. I'll let you guys out early today. Number 1. The time for salvation is now. Don't put it off. Number 2, God has made us promises that we must remember. Number 3, God's promises are sure and He will bring them to fruition. Number 4, Before people hear the gospel, they attest to their own goodness. When people are confronted by their sin, they become broken. But when we confess our sin, he is faithful and just and will forgive us our sin and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. The second Adam, Jesus Christ, has paid for our sin. The whole Trinity is involved in salvation. And Jesus sends us back to the world to bring all of his family back together. Alvin, can you pray for us today, sir?
Father, we are thankful for this opportunity to be able to consider your word and what it has to say.